Now to the economy and a good, if not great, jobs report for May. Employers added 217,000 jobs last month, holding the unemployment rate steady at 6.3%. It was the first time since 1999 that we've added at least 200,000 jobs for 4 straight months. So why aren't economists celebrating? Deaux is an economics analyst for TheStreet.com. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So we're back to where we were in 2008. Which essentially means we've had 6 lost years, right?
Right. We're finally back to gaining all the jobs that we lost in the Great Recession. But economists aren't sitting here and cheering, and most of middle America probably isn't either. We have seen wages, they went up by about 2.1% year over year from last May. But economists are saying the kind of wage growth that we want to see, that this would be a robust economic recovery, or recovery at least in the jobs market, is about 3 to 4%. So sure, 200,000 jobs for the past 4 months looks great, first time since the Clinton administration. But hey, right now people across America, pretty much between the coasts, are asking, why haven't I gotten a raise? Why am I not seeing bonuses? We're 6 years into this recovery.
It's also fascinating because the benchmark was from 6 years ago, and yet we've had a population growth. We've had other factors change things. But when you look at this jobs report, which sectors seem to have done the best?
You know, overall, if you look at the grand scheme of it, it is the private services sector. We have seen the biggest growth there, which is a positive. But where we didn't see really good growth in May, and this is something that's recurring, is in manufacturing and construction jobs. So construction jobs, when you look and you compare to when we started adding jobs in October of 2010, construction came in, it was about the 26th best month we've seen in the recovery. That's in the 41st percentile, right? And then if we're looking in the manufacturing sectors, the 23rd best, which is the 48th percentile. Okay, sounds like it's decent, but again, we're expecting in previous generations, we've seen recoveries where, oh, great, we're actually seeing meaningful improvement in our wages, and we're seeing far more jobs added that also didn't start at such a low level. I mean, 2008,
Yep.
We're still feeling those effects.
You mentioned wages and how they have barely moved upwards here, which is obviously important because 2/3 of the economy is driven by consumer spending. If they don't have more money, they're not going to spend. But why are wages essentially stuck, and why have they been stuck for a while?
There's a word that the Fed likes to use in talking about money velocity, right? So everybody had said, well, we're pumping all of this money from the monetary system into basically the hands of the banks, and we're trying to improve money velocity. We're trying to get people to start spending more. The problem is that we're not seeing the kind of lending from the banks that we had expected, and that a large part of this is people aren't going out and spending the money that they have. They still don't feel like they have enough expendable income that right after they pay the bills, right after they pay the rent, that, okay, great, I'm going to go out and buy another iPod, or I'm going to go out and buy another television set. And so when people aren't spending their money, it suggests that, well, businesses aren't seeing the demand, and so they're not going to be hiring more people because they're not seeing the demand from the consumer sector.
What about the labor force participation rate, that number that tells us who's actively employed, who's fully looking? It was unchanged in May. So what does that mean? Unchanged
in May, which in this situation, I think we're kind of happy to see that it didn't go lower, right? This could be cyclical. This could also be the situation we're facing right now in the United States. There are a number of baby boomers who continue to exit the labor force, and some of them maybe a little bit earlier than they had expected to. They have been saying, I'm looking for work. I was talking to a recruiter yesterday who said people sit around for 2-3 years, and finally they said, I'm just going to take a job at Home Depot. But a lot of them aren't even taking the job at Home Depot. Yeah. They're just saying, you know what? I'm getting out of this labor force. It's not even worth my time right now.
Well, they're good numbers, even though we're not celebrating. Deaux, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.